Melo Eliyahu ben Pachmal Akido, וגם my mother's grandmother, Chefzi Bar Yishuah, and for this should also, everyone should find shidduchim. But also specifically for Yanni ben Yocheved, the long friend from Fjordans, and he's still looking for his second half. And my brother, Malkiel ben Esther. May he find may Hashem unlock whatever is locked, open up whatever is closed, and let's begin. There should be in the highest level of the in the Canadian. And Daniela Bat? Mira. So she also should have a shidduch.
Amen.
Some people, this is a specific moment that we want to talk about. Okay, the 3 weeks is a serious time. It's a time that the whole Jewish people believe it's a time of sorrow. However, hopefully after I want to see you. Come. Hopefully after today's shiur, we're going to be able to have the weapons and the tools to be able to convert the sorrow into happiness, into days of joy. Bezrat Hashem. Okay? There's going to be a few layers, and if you pay attention throughout, hopefully by the end you'll be able to respect it and appreciate and come out a lot of knowledge. Some of the information that we're sharing is going to be from the Menashe, Ben Eliyahu, Ben Yoyada Sefarim. Mainly, the reason why I'm here tonight is because I learned something very deep and powerful from the Arizal. And it gave me such a stir, and I'm like, we have to make a share. We have to share it. No? Who's recording? Alright. The Gemara in Mesechet Sotah says something very scary and very interesting. Okay? It says, there are 4 people that Eno Mekabelin Pene Shechina. Eno Ro'in et Shechina. There's 4 people in this world, while a person is alive, that will not see the face of the Shechina. Now, the greatest joy for the neshama after a person passes away, what is the Gan Eden? What is the Olam Haba? What is it? It's only sitting under the glory of the Ziva Shechina. You're sitting in your backyard, you're sitting on the roof, you're sitting at the kosher beach, yeah? And you're just basking under the sun. That's all you're doing. If you were a plant, you would be enjoying it. This is your chayim, this is your life. This is your bread and butter. For your neshama, all it wants to do is just sit under the radiance of the Shechina. And unfortunately, 4 people will not be able to see that. In this week's parasha, we have a double parasha, Matot Mas'eh. Matot in the beginning speaks about speech. It speaks about the last war of Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu says, we have to fight Midian. And after this, I'm going to go to Olam HaEmet, the Olam Haba. What do you think the people felt? They felt like going home and not going to war. Because if this is going to cause our Rebbe to die after the war, I'm not going to war. I still want to see you. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He says, no. He started. Because one, it's a bidding by God. God says, I shouldn't be worried. It's 100,000% bitachon. If this is what Hashem wants, I don't care if it's my life on the line. And we have to be able to sometimes be able to bring ourselves to this point. I don't care if it's my life on the line. If Hashem said to do this, I will do this. That's in Parsha Matot. In Parsha Mas'eh, it talks about the 42 travelings of Bnei Israel throughout the desert from Yetziat Mitzrayim all the way till entering Eretz Yisrael. So the Jewish people traveled 42 places. Just on a side note, a person in his own lifetime, his or her lifetime, must go through 42 different places or challenges or milestones in their life before they die. And if they don't go through all 42, the neshama has to come back down to complete the mission. Surprisingly, or no surprisingly, the ma'amar that we're going to be learning tonight is from page 42 as well in Masechet Sotah. It says, what are the 4 people now? We're going to give you the list. We're going to try to elaborate. We're going to explain. The first one is people who are leitzanut, leitzanim. Those who are class clowns, we call them, who mock certain things. The second class group is called chanifut. Flattering someone, but I think it's overdoing it. You don't deserve the recognition, but they're doing it not only, oh, you're a great kid. No. Oh, you're such a this, and they over-exaggerate something that is not only not necessary, but they're probably even switching around certain things. The Gemara goes on to the third group, and each class is getting spiritually worse. The third group is shakranim, liars. Mesechet Midot, Sefer Hamidot by Rabbi Nathan and Breslov says, one of the reasons why a person is a lefty is because in his previous Gilgul, he was a liar, and he has to fix that tikkun. Shakranim are liars. And the fourth group is the worst of them all, is Misipare Lashon Hara. Those who speak Lashon Hara. These are the 4 classes that the Gemara gives in Masechet Sotah Daf Membet. And it says over there that these 4 classes, they don't see or receive the Penei HaShechina. Yes.
What about the afternoon?
The shorish of these 4 is Gava. If we can think of a common denominator from all 4 of them, I feel that the common denominator of all 4 of them is using what part of their body? The tongue. We know that the first Beit HaMikdash was destroyed because of Gilui Arayot, Shefachut Damim, okay? Immoral relations, Shefachut Damim, murder, and Avodah Zarah, idol worship. However, the second Beit HaMikdash, which we are still in the damages of, not recovering yet, is because Sinat Chinam, Lashon Hara, ill chatter, unnecessary gossip. We are still hurt by it. The Shechina is still hurt by it. And this is why the Gemara and the Arizal says that the 4th and the most damaging is the ones that speak Lashon Hara about somebody else. A leitzan, according to the Arizal, would be considered damaging the highest level, but it's sometimes so subtle and so simple. Sometimes you make a remark, just by making a hand gesture, or just clearing the throat, like, that's a leitzan. A class clown, sometimes you could do something so subtle, just with the wink of an eyebrow or a gesture on the face, something so subtle, so small. And it will ruin, a lot of times, the spirituality. How many times in many, many shuls and many, many lectures and during the week, whatever it is in classes, the teacher, the Rebbe, is trying to give over a certain serious lecture, and then you got someone asking a question. Just to throw a bowling ball, the curveball, just for no reason. Just because they had a thought about it. Or just, sometimes it's just to get under the skin of certain other people. Do you know where they belong? The Gemara says, not seeing the face of the Shechina, unfortunately. We have to accept upon ourselves. We have to learn from all of these 4 details. So the Leitzan sometimes could be something doing very subtle. If there was a pyramid, and I would like to show you how it makes a little sense, where on the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you were to look at a pyramid, the smallest area is the number 1. And that's our first category, the Leitzani. You got to do something so small, and it messes up the whole crowd. That's a Leitzan. Group number 2 is the Chanifut. Chanifut is flattery. Over-flattering someone, over-exaggerating. Okay? It says in the Menashe says, Kol Adam sheyesh bo chanufa. Whoever has the ability to give over someone a compliment, but he's overdoing it in a flattering way, nofel begehinam. He's going to end up falling into Gehinam. It's a vicious trap that you don't want to start with. Ki chanufa hi bedvarim sheyotzim mitoch gufo shel adam. Chanifut, which is flattery, doesn't come from a surface. It comes from deep within your body. You're like, oh, you know how, and you know, and you're going, and you're going. That's from within. So midah keneged midah, you're not going to receive the center core of the Shechina. Group number 3 is the shakranim. Unfortunately, the people who constantly lie have a very difficult time with the truth. They also have a difficult time seeing the pity of someone else. When a poor person comes to ask for tzedakot, he's the first guy to blow him off.
The liar.
The liars. They have a problem with the truth. His whole family is being hurt in Israel, for example. He came somehow to America to ask for money, and you're like, oh, again, another one. This is a person who is dealing with a lot of lies. And he has a hard time also doing tshuva, because doing tshuva, repenting to Hashem, means I'm coming closer to the truth. Someone who lies is going and pushing himself further and further away from the truth. He can't handle the reality, the truth, so he has to facade, make his whole life, his whole appearance into a fake story. He's also someone who tends to forget Hashem easily. How could you just do this? Our famous question is, we're questioning the biblical characters. How could the Jewish people fall in doing Avodah Zarah, the Egel HaZahav? They just left Mitzrayim. Yeah, but there was something lacking inside them. They still felt that they were still in the slave mode. Whatever it is, you could give 100 different reasons. And group number 4, so that's number 3. I guess there are more liars than the other groups. And group number 4 is the Misparei Lashon Hara. They are the biggest class, the biggest category, the ones who say Lashon Hara. It's almost prevalent, it's almost addictive. Almost every minute. If you learn halachot of Lashon Hara, you're going to realize and you're going to see how every, maybe sentence, if not every second sentence, it's something not appropriate in terms of the halacha. Yes?
I have a problem with this thing. I have a friend that he was renting a house. 4 years, the tenant, a religious Jewish guy, is not paying rent. If you will go and say to the people in the shul, so they will not have a problem because he will be evicted one day.
Yeah.
Yes? About him. Is this Lashon Hara?
There are a lot of rules and details, okay? Sometimes, I cannot say he's really religious or not, and it's irrelevant whether the person is religious or not. We label, for some reason, we see a figure that's religious. What is religion? I didn't want to talk about this, but Judaism is not a religion. Judaism is not like other religions. Judaism itself is also not a religion. There's no such thing as being more or less religious. Are you following the right path or not? So whatever you're saying, this person, okay, a Jew, he's not doing the right thing. Did you ever, there's a halakha about witnesses. There has to be kosher witnesses. They must be able to report certain actions. Are they now lashon hara? I saw a guy killing someone. I saw a guy robbing something. So according to the lashon hara standards, according to our little understanding, we think that witnesses are not allowed, but just the opposite. Everyone has a specific path and a certain way and method how to approach the situation. Unfortunately, this is not the right time. We'll be able to expand upon. But I think certain details we need to enlighten in that aspect, okay?
Thank you.
These four categories is prevailing amongst everybody, unfortunately, on different levels. The last one is the one who speaks lashon hara. It's the worst. These people have no cheshik to learn. They have no desire to learn. How many times I see students, how many times we see people in the shul, how many times they're just not interested. There was a story that about a Chabad boy, he's just fresh out of the Chabad school, and is excited to do his shlichut, his messengers, his job, his mission. He passes by one day on the street, and this guy, no kippah, the boy asks him, maybe he's 14, 15, 16 years old, whatever, young guy. He still has good energy. He asks him, did you put on tefillin today? He says, no, I don't even believe in God. What tefillin are you talking about? The boy was confused because his ideology, his idea of being a Jew is, he asked him, are you Jewish? He says, yes. So in his mind, so that's it. If you're a Jew, you have to put on tefillin. He's like, no, get away from me, I don't want to hear from you. He asked him again, are you Jewish? Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're religious or not religious. Are you a Jew? That's the emet. He kept on walking away, he kept on following him. Until he finally agreed to put on tefillin. And the second he put on tefillin, tears started streaming down his face. This guy, who we're going to call an anti-Jew, an atheist, nothing to do with religion. What is he doing? He's not putting on tefillin, and he's crying. Because deep down, every single person, especially if you're a Jew, you want to do the right thing. A person who speaks lashon hara, unfortunately, he becomes numb. So numb that he's not sensitive to others' feelings. He's not sensitive to even the Torah's feelings. He's not sensitive to someone learning Torah, or himself. He's not interested to do mitzvot. And if you do tell him to do a mitzvah, it's robotic. Let me just get the check. Hashem says to do it. Let me just do that check. Mark it off. I did it for the day. Let me go. I'm not interested. Let me move on. This is someone who speaks lashon hara. Where will he end up? He's going to end up with an illness. Chas v'shalom. Unfortunately, but it makes sense because midah keneged midah. If you messed up with your mouth, you're going to have a ailment with the mouth. So in the future, when you think of anything about the mouth, most probably this person was someone who was saying lashon hara. Then Rabbi Natan ben Breslov says a couple of ideas and a couple of tikkunim, a couple of things how you could fix the problem. This is a very serious problem. This is a serious addiction. What's another way of saying an addiction? We're not gonna. A lot of people don't like the word. They stay away from that word. So we're gonna use the word restriction. So how could you fix this restriction? What is a restriction? Anything holding you back from reaching your potential, from growing, from doing the right thing. That's a restriction. Which, by the way, you know how you say restriction in Hebrew? I'm going to write it in big letters on the outside. Mitzrayim. Almost every mitzvah we have Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim. But what does Mitzar mean? Mitzar means to restrict. That's an addiction. Most people come and tell me, Rabbi, I have nothing to do with Mitzrayim. I don't feel I even left Mitzrayim. On Pesach, it's just a routine. I started giving him a list. What do you do from morning to night? And he started, I listed him over 20 restrictions, things that he's addicted to. As soon as Shabbat is over, you gotta put it on your phone. 10 seconds before Shabbat it's not even there yet. I still have to look at my phone. That's an addiction. Every morning, I gotta have my cup of coffee. That's an addiction. That's a restriction. That's your Mitzrayim. So Hashem says, Hashem says, remove anything that's preventing you from growing. It could be even something about Judaism. I have to sit in a certain seat. Because the rabbi says, I have the biggest kabbalah over there, and now he's making a whole balagan. Someone sat in the seat one day. Oh, the whole room hears that, what are you doing in my seat? That's a restriction. Sometimes it's important to sit in your seat, to down in your spot. But what's more important? Someone else's feelings. How many times we covered the challah on Friday night? Not to embarrass the challah, but our spouse, our children, our guests. We don't pay attention to their feelings. The covering challah is a mashal. I would dare to even push and say, don't cover the challah, but take care of other people's feelings. Start changing your sensitivity and feelings towards others. And maybe it was going to bring one step closer to bringing the Mashiach and the Beit HaMikdash. One of the tikkunim is to learn Torah. Why? I have a few more things I'm going to add. The body is specifically aligned, and it's, for the most part, symmetrical. You have one eye across the other eye, you got one ear across the other ear, you got one hand across the other hand, the shoulder, hips, and knees and toes, yeah? Everything is almost perfect, if not perfect, in Hashem's eyes. In the middle column, we have our mouth. Everything follows the tongue, the mouth. The menorah has 3 branches on the right, 3 branches on the left, but they all face the middle. We must always find the central theme and the balance in life. You cannot pick up weights on a bar where one side is heavier than the other. You're going to be picking up. You can't do that. There has to be a proper balance in life. The mouth is in the middle. These 4 people, the one who's the leitzan, who's mocking and making fun of everything and everyone, the one who flatters everybody over too much, the liar and the one who speaks lashon hara, what do they all have in common? They are misusing their tongue. Every single day, we say in Shema, V'dibarta bam, and you shall speak of them. Of what? The words of the Torah. The Torah says, we say it every day. What are the words that's supposed to be coming out of my mouth every day? Further, let me elaborate that. What's the only thing that should be coming out of my mouth? V'dibarta, only bam, only the Torah. So if you have a problem with your mouth, with your tongue, and you're saying negative things, what's the only antidote?
Torah.
Is to learn Torah. And just like the Torah, says the Chafetz Chaim, is equal to all the mitzvot, and unfortunately, on the opposite scale, if someone says lashon hara, it's equal to all averot. unfortunately, and how scary it is. The Chafetz Chaim dedicated his entire life to the concept, the idea of not speaking Lashon Hara. Once there was a shidduch for his son, and he asked about his girl. Someone says, I have a wonderful girl for you. He only asked one question. Not if she's pretty, not if she's working, not if she's beautiful, nothing. Is she a chatter?
She what?
Is she a chatter? Does she speak Lashon Hara? Paka paka. It's worth for me to have someone ugly, poor, than someone who speaks Lashon Hara. Because what will be the point? It's gonna take away all the barachot, all the shefa. Which, by the way, someone who is a leitzan, he says, Mezonotav mitma'atin. Your parnasah will slowly start to decrease. You're going to try to go on the computer, ask a philanthropist, what's the best job for me to do? You know what's the best job for you to do? Watch your tongue. That's the biggest blessing. You will receive all the shefa. Why? Because it's in the middle column. It's equal to all the mitzvot of the Torah. But I could not be not learning, not religious, whatever. It's okay. Watch your tongue, watch your mouth. You will automatically receive all the blessings. The second tikkun that we will learn, is being humble. Because as this young, fine gentleman said in the back, where's Ga'ava in the picture? Ga'ava is behind the scenes of all four layers. It's ego. If I'm putting you down, if I'm speaking derogatory about you, then guess what? I'm picking myself up. And when you are so bloated and large, Hashem says there's no room for me next to you. And that's why you cannot see me when you die. Unfortunately. It's very scary, very serious. The third thing, so the second thing we want to do is to constantly act humble. Be humble. Speak humble. There's no such thing, my seat. You want to sit here today? No problem. Kalacha, put your head down, move on. In the beginning, it might hurt you. But that means you have a lot to work on. You have to build yourself in a way, inside, where when someone will sit in my seat, it's not even a problem. B'chavod. It takes work. It takes time. Allow the work to occur. Because the only way you grow is through different tests. That's our avoda. That's our job. The third tikkun, which is very unusual but very important, is to say and to read something called the Ketoret. What's the Ketoret? The 11 spices. If you remember, many parshiot already are speaking about it. When it comes to the Egel HaZahav, there is a dead. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Aharon, take the Ketoret spices and save death. When there was a machloket between Korach and Moshe, what was the main beef about? Ketoret. The two sons of Aaron, what are they bringing? Ketoret. Underlying theme of many, many, many things is the Ketoret. You have to understand that the Ketoret is one of the most extreme, very serious mitzvot that we have that we don't even understand at all. Do you know why? Because it doesn't belong to us, the Jewish people. It belongs to the angel of death. It's not ours. When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai to receive the Torah, everybody was impressed after the whole ordeal. Wow! So everyone started giving him gifts, all the angels. And the Yetzer Hara himself gave Moshe Rabbeinu a gift. What is that? The secret against death. Which is what? The Ketoret. Otherwise, how did he know? To tell Aharon, by the way, there's death going on here. take the Ketoret and walk right through them. How did he know that? He knew because he just got the secret code from the Yetzer Hara himself. So now, if speaking Lashon Hara brings death, so then what should a person say to prevent death? His own death. Say the Ketoret. Very important. Today's not the Ketoret class. There's a whole thing about the Ketoret. Very important to say word for word. The Ben Shai says to count with your fingers all the 11 spices. You have to count all 11 spices. Which, by the way, there is 10 sefirot, but there's 11 spices. How does that make sense? The Yetzer Hara always wants to do one over. You know what's the 11 spices? It's corresponding to 10 sefirot, and then when you put them all together, you got a surrounding aura. We call it or makif. Something surrounding. That's the 11th. It's not in order, it's actually number 4, but whatever. Okay, we're not going to get to that.
It's a mixture of everything.
So it's really everything. So now, in addition, I would like to share one of the 11 spices. They're all beautiful smelling, fragrance, kaif, except for one.
Galba.
One, the helbona, is a helbona.
Yeah, English galba.
It's also.
Yeah, galba.
It's a very nasty odor. It stinks. It's bad. Phew. To think that you're going to put it as part of one of the holiest, you know, when we also bring the Ketoret, it's the main service of Yom Kippur. And one of them must have that stinky smell. Guess what? If you decide to remove that, saying to yourself, it smells. I don't want it in there. Let me throw it out. And I'm going to bring now the other spices. Or replace that stinky one with another fragrant one. Guess what you just did? The entire mixture is pasul. I'm not sure if you heard this. I mentioned this many times before. But I'm going to share something with you again. In a minyan, there needs to be 10 people. It doesn't matter what walk of life. Religious or not religious. I'm not even going to use the word religious anymore. Observant or not observant. Or less observant. And guess what? I think the Chidah says this. If in a minyan, there's someone that is far away from Judaism, and he's not part of your minyan, that minyan is not a minyan. You must have someone who is, quote unquote, a foul, older one. Not the greatest one, the one that you think is chazid, badbak, bechorek, sitting in the back, doing nothing, what do you want? No. He makes the minyan. And without him, it doesn't work. Everybody must be included. Very important. That's fix number 3. So the 4th one is giving tzedakah. The Arizal says something very powerful about giving charity. Anytime a person does a mitzvah, at the moment of him performing that mitzvah, he has some kind of energy, a spiritual energy on his forehead, whatever that means. And whatever mitzvah that is, let's say, Bikur Choli. You're going to have the letter Bet popping out of you spiritually, or the Chet, Cholim. When you finish the mitzvah, the spiritual energy on that forehead, according to the Arizal, goes away as well. You finish the mitzvah. You visited the sick for a half hour, 10 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is. You left the room, you left the hospital. That's it. The energy, the aura is gone. Not tzedakah. Tzedakah, says the Arizal, lasts a whole week. The energy on giving and charity lasts, and their impression is there a whole week. And he uses the pasuk as follows. I'm going to read for those who understand. וזה בזמן שעושה אותם לבד, כי אחר כך נבלעים בפנים. Okay? אבל אם עושה מצווה של צדקה, if you do mitzvah צדקה, האות שלה, that letter, tzadi, on the forehead, אינו מסתלק מהר, okay? מהר, כשאר אותיות. It doesn't fly away from you quickly as other mitzvot. Shel shar mitzvot. Ela me'ir b'mitzvot kol oto shavua. It illuminating on your forehead all week. That's from Shabbat to Shabbat. It's a new week. V'zeo, that's the pasuk that says in Tehillim 111, pasuk 3. You could look inside. V'tzidkato, and his righteousness, omedet la'ad, stands forever. How long? For 1 week. Could you imagine this? This is from Tameh Mitzvot. So far, we're learning extremely serious categories of individuals that may, chas v'shalom, never be able to see the radiance of the Shechina. I'm going to repeat it again, and there's a reason why, because right now we're coming to a near conclusion, and this is going to be hopefully, how do you call it? The
home run?
Outfield. It's not even home run, outfield. You ready for this? So now let's repeat. The first category is one who is a leitzan, makar, who mocks everything. Second category is one flattering, chanifut. Third one is shakanim, liars. Fourth one is nisparei lashon hara, one who speaks lashon hara. According to Arizal, each one is getting worse than the other. So now, buckle up. When I read this, I went crazy. And I forgot the exact words, but the second parak in Pirkei Avot, Mishnah 9, Tet, it says as follows. Im lemadatat Torah harbe, if you learn a lot of Torah in your life, yeah, don't pat yourself on the back. Why? Because lekach nosarta, that's what you were created for. You weren't created to work and to do everything materialistic. You came here in this world to do what? To learn Torah. But even if you learn a lot of Torah, don't take credit to yourself. Oh, now you're going to learn, now do God. No. Lekach nosarta, that's what you were created for. From Israel, is something very powerful, very beautiful. Check this out. If you learn Torah, don't keep it to yourself. Rather, you must share it. Because lekach nosarta, that's what you were created for. When you learn, you share. I learned something very deep, very powerful, and I'm going to share. Now, in this world, when we daven, when we do mitzvot, we try to not only promote, but also elevate in different worlds. There are different worlds, okay? From the highest world, okay, top is Atzilut, it's called. If you don't know the names, it's okay. We're just going on the numbers. So check this out, okay, on the layers. The highest layer is where Hashem is. You can barely see Hashem or even understand Hashem, and that's why He's in the smallest. Which letter represents Hashem? The Aleph. If you take away the Aleph, you don't have the full alphabet. Aleph is the smallest number. That's why Hashem says, oh, what are we going to start the Torah with? The bet comes into the picture, Baracha. Aleph got shy. If the bet got chosen, why do I even need to ask, says the Aleph. Aleph shies back. He says, I'm nobody. You feel you're nobody? Boom. That's when you are everything and everybody. Which, speaking of which, I didn't plan it, but the Ben Yehuda says something very interesting about every letter has a word. This is the word Aleph. Correct? Aleph. The middle, correct? Aleph. The middle, the doing. Okay? We call it Abiyah. Now, this also represents the 4 letters of God. Yud, K, Vav, K, respectively. However, I'm going to write something. I'm going to make a circle on the bottom, maybe with which one you see, blue? I'm going to make a blue on the bottom, and I'm going to write the letter Hey in the bottom. There's a letter Hey right over here. Okay? There's a letter Yud. I'm actually going to spell it in English because I don't want to, okay? It's better because I cannot write in Hebrew the name of Hashem. Yud. Okay? Hey. Vav. And the last one is a Hey. Now, why am I not putting anything on the top one? Because if you take the smallest letter, which is a Yud, the Yud is drawn like a little bit like this. It's a small little Yud. Okay? And this Yud has a little thing on the top. It's called the kotz, or the edge of the Yud. That edge, small little tiny little, if you have ink, how much ink do you have to waste? A tiny little drop. To such an extent that a fly, if it's still wet, it could move it, could ruin the whole letter, it could change the letter. Now, this Kotzo Shel Yud represents the highest level. Something that we don't understand, that's where Hashem is. And that represents the category, the first one we're speaking about, the Leitzan. Who's the Leitzan? Remember, I said someone who could do something so subtle, so insignificant, yet he could ruin the top layer. The next layer is the Hanifa, the flatter. The one who flatters, overdoes it to someone. That's already the actual letter Yud. You damaging. I'll explain in a second. I'm going to redo this. The third layer, okay, is the one who was doing what? The liar, the shakranim. The liar represents the letter Hey. Okay? The third letter is Vav, represents the last layer that we just called, is called what? The one who says Lashon Hara. Here, Lamed, Hey, Lashon Hara. So, we have one problem now. The bottom layer is empty. We just did all the letters, Yud, Kei, Vav, Kei. No, we just did Yud, Hey, and Vav. The Kotzo Shel Yud, the top part of the Yud, was all these four classes. Guys, what did we start off saying, Mesechet Sotah, Daf Mem Bet? What did it say? Anyone of these four categories, they don't see the face of what? Shechina represents the bottom layer. Now let's explain again. All these four, you mess up so badly that you don't allow yourself to see the Shechina. I imagine this like a shower head. Okay, if you put, if there's water trickling down a pyramid or a mountain, okay, it doesn't just stay on top. It goes to layer 2, layer 3, layer 4. It trickles down to the bottom. Now, this trickling down is in water. However, when we're dealing with energy and essence of God and blessing Shefa, in essence, when someone does Leitzanut, okay, the Avera of Leitzanut, mockery, making fun, he's actually blocking layer number 1, which is the main layer, to give all the light and the energy all the way down. It's not that bad, it's bad. But the guy on the bottom can still receive blessing from layer 2, 3, and 4. And we're moving on progressively worse, says the Arizal, in layer number 2, which is who? The Hanifa, the flatterer. He's worse because now I'm blocking layer number 1 and 2 from giving over energy and Shefa 2, 3, 4, and on the bottom. So that's worse. Layer number 3 is worse because I'm preventing, listen to this. I'm preventing layer number 3, which is the Shakaran, the lion. I am preventing from giving blessing to number 4. Look at this guy, number 4. He already doesn't have 1 and 2, and now he doesn't have 3. He just has a small layer. And who's the worst, guys? Unfortunately, the one who says Lashon Hara. Because I'll explain now the whole category of the bottom layer, which is the Shechina. Because someone who says Lashon Hara, what does he really do? Does not allow the bottom layer to receive any blessing. That's the scariest. And that's the most detrimental. And that's why someone who says Lashon Hara, he will not see the face of the Shechina. You literally won't see anything. Now the concept of the Shechina represents a couple of things. There is a mashal in Judaism, according to the 10 Sefirot. This is the last one, number 10. According to the 10 Sefirot, let me explain to you quickly. There is a mashal. What's a mashal? An analogy. To understand this a little bit better, okay? The Shechina is an analogy. The Shechina is what? Energy from God. The Shechina is also what? Malchut. Thank you, Tzaddik. We don't know what that means, but that's a 10th Sefirah. But as a mashal, the Shechina or the Malchut is also representing who or what? One's wife. One's wife, spouse. Not the husband, the wife. The Malchut represents the wife. Let me explain to you. You have a cup. If there's holes in the cup and I'm pouring, can I make a bracha? Because there's nothing left anymore. That's the Malchut. How does the energy of the Malchut work? It itself, this bottom layer, itself does not have its own energy, as we just explained. 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Does Shechina itself, the bottom layer, has its own energy? No. The Malchut, the Shechina, the wife, does not have its own spiritual energy. Where does it get an energy from? From you. From mitzvot. But she's not obligated. When you are obligated, it showers onto her automatically as well. That's why she's not obligated to do what? Time-bound mitzvot. She's not obligated. She doesn't have to. Who has to? You. And all the energy must be coming down from you. And whatever you put inside the cup is what you get back. So if I'm putting nothing, if I'm putting zero into a relationship, I'm not communicating, I'm not doing anything, people are afraid of like these Kabbalistic terms. But in essence, ever since I started trying to understand this is like relationships number one, like 101. This is what it's equal, as I'm explaining to you. Whatever I'm putting into the Shechina, to the Malchut, to the wife, is exactly what I'm going to be getting back. I'm putting 1%, I'm getting back 1%. I'm putting 10%, I'm getting back 10%. I'm putting 0, I'm getting back 0. You're going to scream and yell at me. You go to the store, you get a list of, here's everything I need. I got everything what you told me. Why are you still yelling at me? Something went wrong. From layer 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. The Shechina didn't receive the proper dose. Sometimes it's not the fact that you gave the flowers, it's how you gave it. Here, Rabbi told me to do this every week. Here, let me just go do my thing. Throw it back. I don't need it. That's exactly reciprocating. You're giving 0 of your heart, you're going to give back 0. I don't want it. During these 3 weeks. So I hope some of these ideas is now being able to be connected based on the understanding of the Arizal. All these 4 individuals, they will not see the face of the Shechina because they removed the Shechina. Why are we speaking about this during the 3 weeks? Because during the 3 weeks it's called Bain Ametzarim, which is what we started off with saying what? Mitzrayim. And what's Mitzrayim? Restriction. What are we in right now? A time of restriction of 3 weeks. Starting with the 17th of Tammuz, which I'm going to write on top, the 17th of Tammuz. And on the bottom is the 9th of Av. That's when the 3 weeks are over. Yes? These are our 3 weeks. First week, second week, third week, I guess. This is our 3 weeks. We are in a phase that is restricting us, making Mitzrayim to us. What are we supposed to do? Remove all of these unfortunate layers so that we could actually get the Shechina. So we just turned the negativity, the sorrow, the restriction into great days of joy. There are 2 time periods that Moshe Rabbeinu prayed for the Jewish nation after their downfalls. 2 big events. Event number one was what? Egel HaZahav. After the Egel HaZahav, Moshe Rabbeinu goes up 40 days, 40 nights. Do you forgive them? No. Again, 40 days, 40 nights. Do you forgive them? No. Again, the last group set of 40 days, 40 nights, starting with Rosh Chodesh Elul, ends up with Yom Kippur. Hashem says, I forgive you. When Hashem forgave him, what did Moshe Rabbeinu use? With what channel, what avenue to connect to God? 13 Midot HaRachamim. Let me put that on the side. We say it Mondays and Thursdays. We say it on Yom Kippur all day. Okay? 13 Midot HaRachamim. Amonai, Amonai, Kel Rachum V'Chanun. It's not for fun. We say it. It's because Moshe Rabbeinu used it to unlock the blockage of our downfall. And Hashem finally said, Salachti Kedvarecha. Hashem didn't say, Salachti, I forgive you. Salachti, what's the word, guys? Kedvarecha. As you have spoken. Because you have spoken. Because you communicated. Because you opened your heart to me. That's the Yud Gimel Midot HaRachamim. But we're not done. Then the Bnei Israel had another problem. Year number 2. What was the problem? The Meraglim. After the spies came back, they're all screaming and crying and they have Tisha B'Av. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He fell on his face. And if you look at the Pesukim properly, he also has a similar wording of the 13 midot, but it's not 13, it's actually 9 midot. People, if I didn't learn it, I would also, as usual, pass by it. You didn't notice it, but if you go in Parashat Shalach about the spies, so what's 13 plus 9? These midot that we're talking about. Thank you. Do you remember we were speaking about the Bein HaMitzarim? How many days is it? 3 weeks? 22. Every single day of bad is gonna be upgraded and uprooted through these 22 midot that Moshe Rabbeinu used. And Be'ezrat Hashem in the future, we started off with the 17th of Tammuz. You know what's Gematria for 17? Tov, good. This day was supposed to be good. It's not good now, but it will be good. So this day, 17th of Tammuz, will be good. The month and era of Tammuz and Av, which is on the Sitra Afra side, on the Esav side, is going to be Be'ezrat Hashem transformed to us. The major part of the burning of the Beit HaMikdash was on what day? Not the 9th. It was on the 10th. There was only one rabbi, I think his name is Rabbi Yehuda. He says, if I was there when the rabbis were making a committee to make a shtampovka, when we're going to fast, I would have done it on the 10th. I would have done it on the 10th, he said. Because that's where the major part of the burning was. But the Chachamim came and gave a haskama. They gave a final verdict. We don't go with at the end. We go with the beginning. We go how it started. We go at the cause. We go at the root. I asked you guys many times before in the past, what is more important, the body or the soul? And I'll explain it to you. You cannot survive without the soul. And the soul needs the body. They're both working in unison, together, as a perfect shidduch. When, after 120 years, a person passes away, yeah? Your body is staying in the ground, and your neshama goes up. Your neshama goes through a washing cycle called Gehinnom. That's why we say Kaddish up to a year. Make sense? Good. What happens after that year? What happens after that year?
Judgment.
It depends. Let's say he's good. Let's say he's good. Where does he go? Olam haba. Now you're getting all your reward for all your mitzvot, for all your limud, for all the action that you did right in this world. Remember, you already got the Gehenna. Washing machine is done. Now you're only going, basking under the glory of God. You're going up, you're going up, you're going up. And now, as you're going up, you are in this layer. Your neshama feels great. However, the energy is all the way up there. There is still some space. How does your neshama feel or want? What does your neshama want at that point? It wants more. So the neshama asks Hashem, I want to get closer. Because that's all I want. But Hashem says, I can't. That's all the mitzvot that you did in this world. I can't let you go higher. So sometimes for certain reasons, Hashem says, okay, are you willing to go back to this world? Just to do another mitzvah? To get up a little bit higher? Maybe after 8 days you're going to die, after 8 days of Brit Milah, and that's it? Or maybe after 1 or 2 years, we sit and cry, we don't understand Hashem's reasoning. Why a couple of months old child, a couple of years old child, he passes away. But this is the scenario. Now I'm going to take it back to us. We're not dead yet. Right now, we are that neshama. So now I ask of you, if you're going right now, what will you do? You're going to want to grab as many mitzvot as possible right now. Learn, do mitzvot. It's not my money. Hashem gave me the money. Here's tzedakah. You need it b'challah. You want to eat food? Go make a bracha. Do as many mitzvot right now. Why? Because your neshama is going to reach a point where it's going to want to go higher. And Hashem's going to say what? You can't. Do we ever want to hear that from Hashem? No. What's the only way we could go higher, guys? The only way we could go higher is if we do what? If we keep on doing mitzvot and keep on doing and keep on doing. What do we say? We said, as long as your heart is beating, you have an opportunity and ability to do what?
Mitzvot.
As long as your heart is beating, you keep doing mitzvot. Don't ever stop. Unfortunately, this is all I was planning to say. If there's any questions, I hope some of these ideas make sense, and I hope and I wish everybody to receive a lot of shefa, beracha. Anyone who needs a Yeshua of any sort should be answered tonight.
Amen.
Should be answered from tonight.
Amen.
Don't stop. Anytime you want. Don't say, oh, is tonight someone's yortzeit, is someone's Yeshua? Trust me, every day of the year someone passed away. You light a candle because there's nothing greater to light a candle, and that person's energy or all the neshamot is going to now give you that energy. You have no idea how great connection. May anyone who has a locking ability, okay, for some reason is locked, may they be open. Shidduchim should open. If you need a refuah shalema, may you get a refuah shalema. May you be successful in all your studies. All my students that are here, God bless you guys. May anyone who needs any type of blessing, Hashem should answer it. Sometimes you don't know what to do. Sometimes a person just does not know what to do. He doesn't know. Last week, which by the way, Saturday night, I'm letting you know,